Yeah, like I say, I'm still taking a break from the Trans Am, but today the battery was dead in the Ranger. So I went back. I mean, I had noticed there was a bunch of loose wires back here. They were in here. They were tied into the tail light. Some of them are just hanging there. I'm just going to get rid of them. And then there's a couple that are coming from somewhere. Let's see if I can see them. I'm going to have to trace them back. I haven't looked at these close enough, but you can see those are the kind of clips they tied into. So I took 3 or 4, or I don't know, 5 maybe out of there, where they tied into the lights. Then when I opened up the light, the backup light bulb and plug-in was missing. Here's the red wire. You can see it back over there. I don't know what this is. Yeah, I'm laying on the ground here. This thing was just wrapped around. It wasn't even tied into anything. But I think this plugs into. There's a plug underneath the car. And then this was up in the bed. But it wasn't plugged in. All these wires are like loose and all this garbage. So let's see. Let's see that. That's a 6-pin. It's some kind of adapter, I think. Oh yeah, I got the truck up on 4 jack stands. I was gonna. It pulls to the driver's side, but all the wheels are they're tight. There's nothing wrong with the bearings. That's passenger. That's tight as a rock. But going back to these wires, I think what this is. I mean, look at this. What a mess. Anyway, I'm just going to find out where all these... There's another cut wire. Yeah, this stuff's not good. There's a loose wire with like a 40 amp fuse. Just looking at trying to figure out what they did here. I hate trying to fix other people's messes. This yellow wire. Let's see, where does that yellow wire come from? It's going into the car. But it's coming from I can see it to there. Look down in there. You can see down there's a splice. Well, you know what? Somebody cut some fog lights in here. And this can't be factory. I don't know how to look. Anyway, I'll just disconnect all this shit. And then when the battery gets charged, I'll see if the short goes away. So, let's see. Somebody must have put a switch in here for fog lights. There's 2 loose wires down here. I hate taking stuff apart. What's this? Security system. Anyway, I'll just trace all these wires. I'm just taking a break. Like I said, I'm taking a break from my Trans Am. I can't stand just sitting still doing nothing. It's like somebody put a 12 volt, I would call it a relay. Where's it starting at though? Right here. They took it off the positive, ran it over to here, then it runs out. I think it goes to the back of the car. You can see the blue wire down in there. You can see that under that green and red. Dang hacks. Some truck on my driveway. Way over there. Yeah, I know this can be a lousy video. I think this is that wire that was running to the back, to the trailer, and they tied it in. Well, see? One end's not, one part of the wire is doing nothing. And this wire, I don't know, anyway, I'm going to disconnect all this shit. They tied into something. Here's an interesting, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but it says this jumper harness this is tied into the brake cylinder. Anyway, so I've got fog lights. I'm pretty sure those are added. I'm going to cut these wires. I can always rehook them up if I want them, but I don't care about them. There's another weird wire. Look, it's a yellow wire here. This is on the ground side. So anyway, I'm going to pull all the wires all the way back. Those exit, whoever put the, let's see, let me just look at this. We got a yellow. Yeah, I got all the wires out of here. It was a bitch. Look at this. That's how much junk there was in there. None of it's factory. Just stuff all over the place, going every direction. I yanked it all out, but the battery's still dead. So tomorrow, see if I screwed up and cut something I shouldn't have cut, but I don't think so. I just get rid of all this junk that was in here. There's two full power lines running to the back. Then there was the fog lights. Then there was an alarm that was disconnected. And I have no way to know how to use it anyway. So I just connected all that. It was all extra. It was all add-on. That's a lot of wire. It drained the battery. I let it sit for like a week before, and I didn't test it. It took a week to, I don't know when it discharged, but I kept checking it, it was okay, then I just let it go for like a week, and then it was dead. Yeah, the gauge, the wires that ran into the car were for the fog light. There's a switch right here. I guess I gotta push it back in there to fill up that hole. And then this weird thing here, you see the way the bolts are sticking out? I guess they came with 5 holes, this is what I read. But people were complaining because these are breaking or something, so they started going to 3. So, again, this was rolling around in the back of here. That's the last piece of loose trim. Done. That's the last piece of loose trim I had laying around inside this truck when I bought it. I thought it needed those other 2 that I just showed, but it's okay. And remember, locking hubs to unlock, turn counterclockwise. Yeah, somehow, when I got rid of all these wires, here's the dash. I didn't show this before. Under the dash. We had to tie into this brown one and hot wire to that. And I got the truck to start again. Actually, Darren helped me with this. But I don't really know what I cut. But somebody's been under here before and did a lot of splicing in. Anyway, it'll work. I'm just going to put a fuse on here, a longer wire and a fuse. And the fuse that should run it is like right here, and this one's dead. I could spend more time trying to figure it out. But anyway, to get this off, if anybody's interested, this metal plate goes like here to this one, this one, this one, this one. By the way, this thing plugs into the back of the steering column. You just loosen that nut, and then this cover goes over that metal. And then this, which is the hood latch, goes here, and there's 2 bolts that go up through. You can see that over there. See if I can point to it. So you got to put this on, then put this through it, and then it snaps into here, and then the snap over here, it's missing. Should look like that here. And all left is this. So that's how it was, and that's it. So tomorrow I'm gonna come down here and fix this up, and maybe I'll try to figure out why this fuse is no power to it. This is the one that should be the key. But everything I cut isn't hot, so I don't know, except for this one. You know what? There is a fuse on there already. So somebody must have been under here before. Is that fuse back in there? Anyway, I disturbed something. and the Trans Am. So I don't know what the last video was, but the turn signal switch wire was broken. I think I did show that. We put that back together, but then I was changing all these bulbs in here. Every connection on the back of this on the back of the bulb was shot. In other words, I had to sandblast every single one of them, even though they looked halfway decent. I'll show what I'm talking about. Every one of these, see, I clean. Sandblasting works really good to clean connections, but every one of them was shot. So then I went to test it, and somehow I screwed up and blew out the temperature gauge. But now the lights work, the blinkers work, gas gauge works, everything works, except I blew out the frickin' temperature gauge. That's the only thing left from putting this back together. And then we're done in here. Oh, and then back here, I was just talking about the connections. This whole harness here, he had at his house and he brought it over, he sold it to me. I mean, he can't give it to me for free. I think he charged me $175, but what do you do? So it's the same problem. Every one of these connections is bad, not in here, but down in here. You can get these out, but they're a bitch. You got to put a tool in there and pull them out, sand them, each one of them. So that's where I am. So like I say, I'm talking to myself now. Oh, the headlights stopped working because the dimmer switch on the floor, you know, your low beam, high beam, switch was bad. The one that goes down there, because the power goes through the dimmer switch headlights. Now, it was a brand new one, but it was bad. These things are junk. I don't know where they came from, but this, I can't do it with one hand, but this cover just pops off. So I got another dimmer switch, fix that. Like I said, I think everything electrical works now, except for the gauge. I know I'm repeating myself because I'm talking out loud. And, oh, another thing that came up. Yeah, I've been talking about leaks. I kept getting a leak here. All the other leaks are gone. So I put the car up in the air. I cleaned everything up. I couldn't see where the leak was because it was so slow I couldn't see it, but it would, like that paper towel was soaked. I put it up in the air, blew everything off, wiped everything off, put that paper towel under it, came back an hour later, I could see where it was dripping. It was dripping. I can show you this, but it was dripping. I can show. The piston in the caliper is leaking. So I gotta get enough. I'm sure I could rebuild the caliper, but I don't want to. I did on my Harley, I rebuilt the calipers. But, so that's the last leak. And then, put the car back together, everything I showed you. I think we'll put the glass in. So, I'm just sick of not having it in, because dust gets inside here. And then I can take the car out for a ride. See what else is wrong. So anybody think about rebuilding a car like I did, especially a rusted car, You might see, if it's rusted, the chances are the electrical connections are rusted, and the motors are rusted, and the relays are rusted. You just can't see it. And I don't care how much you plan, like I did electrical videos. There's just, until you actually power the car up, get everything installed, you just can't catch everything. So I say he's came here now maybe 4 or 5 times. Usually about 3 hours a piece. And yeah, he's really good at this stuff. I don't know how you get that good. Maybe you do it all your life. But he just can narrow down, and and going back to this Ranger, like I just said, hey, I cut all these wires out, like I was saying in the last video. I go, it won't start now. But yet it will start here. If you can see that. I don't know if you can see that. But there's one of those relay starter thingies. You just jump it with the screwdriver. It would key on, you could jump it there. So I must have cut a wire. And the other thing is, this, here's the back tail light. This is missing. This needs to plug into something. Well, it's missing. But they saw them. So this, if you run into this problem, I don't know, this plugs into that part. Now if you look at this side, this is 2 wire on this side. So it must be one of these third wires. Let's see. Now, there's only 2 wires here. I'm just looking at this. 2 wires, and it looks like 3 connections. Anyway, I need one of those. Maybe I should clean this up and see if there's a part number on it. There's a part number on this. Yeah, I think I'll clean that up. Anyway. That's where I'm at. Anybody interested? Just keep me busy. Something to do. When you get old like me and you retire, everybody wants to retire. Like everybody watching this probably is working. You get to that point in your life where you retire, and then you say, what do I do? You gotta have money. You gotta have money to do stuff. So the first thing I want to tell you, I didn't plan this. I didn't think I'd live this long. I really didn't. I was too crazy. Make sure that you pay your Social Security, because maybe it won't even be around when you get there. But I'm getting about $2,600 a month, and the house is paid for, the car, everything's paid for, and the old lady's working. So anyway, I guess the point is, if you're self-employed and you're not paying taxes, when you get to be this age, you're going to get nothing, and you're going to be too old to work. You can't make any money because you're too sore. You're aching too much, and you're screwed. This is my hangout. I'm so lucky. I'm not bragging about where I am. Believe me, I'm just saying I got lucky, and I'm warning you people. Pay off your bills and plan on retiring someday if you live that long. And you don't want to be watching TV all day, and you don't want to be living in a condo doing nothing. You gotta have something to do. You gotta. Yeah, just to end this video, here's that Ranger. I took it off the passenger side. It's the same. But man, there's a real problem. You try to order parts online, or you go to the auto parts store and they give you the wrong stuff. The best, if you can possibly do it, take a one with you and match it up while you're there. So I'm going to take this. There it is, F37B13411AA62111453. But everything's junk nowadays. Thanks to Nixon. Nixon went, you know, I don't know how old I was back then, but I was young. Nixon, it was on the news, Nixon's going to go visit China. He's going to try to open up trade relations. Well, guess what? Now it's, however many years later, I don't know when he was in office. 60s, 70s, I don't know. And here we are now, we're getting everything from China. This virus might have came from China. It's just a mess. The other thing that Nixon did, I'm just going off on a rant. When Nixon was in office, we used to be able to go into the bank and trade we were on the gold reserve. So if you went in, you could get gold for your money. Maybe not that day, but if you said, I want to get money in gold, you could do it. But he ended that because there wasn't enough money for the amount of gold we had, if that makes sense. It's like somebody went with $1 trillion. They didn't have $1 trillion worth of gold. So now the money's not really worth anything. Anyway, stuff from China is junk. I'm just gonna add this on. I had everything cleaned up, everything put away. He showed up at 12:10 or something. And I got all this mess. By the way, if you put baking soda on super glue, it'll dry out almost instantly. There's my super glue. Put this in my pocket so I don't forget it. This stuff, that was from the other day. Took this apart. This was all together. That's all apart. Stuff in here, stuff over here, stuff over here. Test light. It just amazes me. This place is getting straightened out. Anyway, every time I had to get on my quarter-inch sockets or whatever they're called.